Hey, I'm going to provide a little quick overview of MyMathLab and how it works and how you can find all the resources that you might need when you're trying to do our content matter and get ready for your test. Most of our students are in here now, so I will go ahead and go over a little bit with you. So I'm going to first start with, let me share the screen here. This is what it should look like when you log in and then click on the name of the course. You're going to see what we call the announcement page. Do take a quick look at that before you go and jump into your assignments, because there are times when I might post something that for the whole class that would be of use. So maybe I've extended a test day or posted something additional as a resource, like I have here, this graphing Desmos graphing video link right there. I've got your test, I've got the test dates in there. These are the deadlines by which you have to have submitted the test. You can always submit those early. We have the links up here at the top. If you would like to get maybe a Zoom tutoring appointment, or you would like to drop into the OCCC Math Resource Center that has an area where they have tutors and computers and things where you could work on your assignments, you can click on that link and it will give you the office hours and the procedures for that. I have office hours if you want to meet with me in Zoom. This is a quick link that will get you to the Zoom room when we have set our appointment time. All right, so this is just a welcome stuff. Some of this is also on that front page in Moodle, where you all had to follow the instructions there to get into MyMathLab. But the course required content will all be submitted from this site, MyMathLab, not Moodle. There are not assignments, there are activities posted in Moodle that were designed just to give you an extra bit of learning resource. If you don't like those, if they're confusing to you, or you're not following them, you don't have to do them. It was just sometimes it's a little bit of a different approach for how to think about some of these concepts. And so some students, if they find it helpful, and some they don't. If you're trying to learn Desmos graphing tool and you've not used the Desmos before, there's a lot of good stuff in there, especially emphasizing how to use Desmos. Okay. Um, Now also, well, I'll talk more about the Moodle stuff in a minute, but let's say you log in and you're just going to do your assignments. There's only two types of assignments for the course, which would be a homework assignment and a test grade. So if I go over here to the assignments link on the side, it will open up a list of everything that you will need to do for the entire course, starting from the top down. So we have the orientation of MyMathLab, where it kind of just takes you through what MyMathLab looks like and how to put in answers and such like that. The next one is called a skill review. That's optional. That is not for a grade. That's why it says optional. It's just designed if you feel like you're rusty and you don't remember how to do some of the basic stuff that's not in this course, maybe how to simplify an expression or order of operations, or how to do the slope formula between 2 points, just a lot of little things like that. You might flip through those review problems and take a look, and you can practice on those. And again, it might give you a score for that assignment, but that assignment is not going into the grade book. All right, and then the rest of these that have the section numbers after where it says Module 1, Section 1.1, and so on, these are all the assignments that contain all the content that will be included in your first exam. So you can see that the last one we do is something called Linear Modeling, Chapter 2, Section 2.2. And then we have a review, and then we have an online exam. So that takes us through the first test. And notice our first test must be completed by September 10th, which is what it said on that announcement front page there. Okay, so when you log into MyMathLab, mostly you probably just go to the assignments and you're working on the assignments. If you want to see what your grade is like, that's what the grade book is. You can open that up. I will also keep your primary scores and most current scores in this grade book in MyMathLab. I know Moodle also has a grade book, and I just every time after each test, I will just go and look at all the averages in MyMathLab, and I will just copy those averages, which are accurate, straight into the Moodle gradebook. So if you check your Moodle gradebook, the score that you will see is the average that you had right after the previous test, the most recent test that you took. And again, just the number in the big circle, that's your average. If you want to know where that computation came from, the calculation bar will open up and tell you what your homework average is and what your test average is. I'm not doing so hot right now with these, but anyway, but the number inside box inside the circle there is your total average in the course. There is nothing from Moodle that's included in this. It is just, if you scroll down, it will show you all of the assignments that comprised that average. You can see all 4 of them are assignments within MyMathLab. Also, if you have a really good score, but you'd like to go back and maybe just practice on a particular section, maybe you're getting ready for the test, you can go like this to the review rather than the actual homework assignment. If you go into the grade book and click on review here, it will give you new versions, or it'll give you the same problems you have, but it will also let you change and refresh the problem with new numbers, and then you can practice it and it'll grade it whether it's right or wrong, so you get some instant feedback, but it will not change your score that's in the grade book. You're just reviewing. So it'll let you change numbers and practice a problem over and over and over again, and if you miss it, it's not going to, let's say you got 100% on that assignment when you worked it, it's not going to start docking you points because you're reviewing. All right. On the other hand, if you're wanting to get a grade into the grade book or improve on a grade, you have to start from the assignments list, and then you go in and start working on these problems top to bottom. And again, the first one that's going to be test content material is 1.1. So I will just open that up just to, we'll see as an example what that looks like. You may not see this. I guess I shouldn't have done that one. It will look like this when you open it up. You probably won't see that review in practice. It's because it's late, right? Let me go ahead and click on the improve score. All right, fine. Why is it not doing that? Improve the score. Go to the next page. I'm going to continue it. All right. Okay, so if we look on this, every time you open an assignment, there's going to be 2 columns. Over here on the left, there's going to be what we call the media, and that'll be links to an online version of the textbook. So the one that kind of looks like a little blue caddy tipped textbook, that will open it up, and it looks just like a textbook you would have bought. I believe this section opens up on page 12, and then you can flip back and forth virtually on the pages if that's a fan, if you're a fan of reading in order to learn things. If you're more of a verbal linguistic kind of learner where you like reading through things and writing down notes based on what you're reading, that's fine. If you like to listen and watch videos, or instead of like a live lecture, if you look on the one that says introduction, where it talks about the whole section, that gives you about, what is it, about a 5-6 minute overview of the material. It won't go into an example of like every single homework problem you have, but it should be enough to give you an idea about what's going on. And then we have these problems over here that try to reinforce the concepts that we have here. You'll have more detailed information if you click on the text. You'll get a good overview if you click on the first video. And sometimes I throw another video in there if I find it. I find that function notation, if students haven't seen that before, for example, that takes a little bit of time to get the hang of, and we use it throughout the entire course. So I threw another video in there that explains that a little more detail. All right, if none of those seem to work for you, or you feel like you have a really good handle on it and you don't want to mess with it, you still need to at least open and close each one of them to get credit for it. You will get credit for these just like you do completing a correct homework assignment, but you have to open it and then close it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open one of these, and I may have to stop sharing and start again to get the question to open up. So I'll just open up the first question, and I will stop and start the share again so I can make sure that you can see the problem that I can. So hang on, stop the share. I'm going to share again where I can see that problem. Okay, so this is our first question, not including the media. Notice, let me make this bigger. Well, you'll see you'll see the list of questions down the side. You can always collapse that shut if you would rather. You can skip around by just looking through. A lot of times if you're coming back to finish an assignment, you may scroll down and say, oh, let's see, I did these down here, but I skipped number 6. So you can go back up and do that one. Or I did them all, but I missed number 6. So I want to go back and try that one again and get it full credit so I can get 100% of everything. So you get multiple attempts on problems to do, I don't know what that is. You get multiple attempts. If you miss it the first time, it will let you try to correct your answer 2 more times. So you get up to 3 chances to enter a correct answer for every problem. And after that, it will go ahead and count it wrong. But if it does get counted wrong, you also will see at the bottom an option that will pop up that will allow you to refresh the problem. I think it says do a similar exercise. And so you can refresh it and then you can continue to work on it until you get it correct. So if you give yourself enough time to work on it, you should be able to get all of the problems correct and get 100% is as long as you submit it by the due date. If you submit it late, then there'll be a little bit of a penalty, but at least you can still continue to work on it. All right. So if you're unsure about how to do a problem or you uh, or kind of wanting to just play around with the different learning styles or you can always watch the media to get started. If you're working on a problem and you're like, this doesn't look exactly like something I saw before, look down here at the bottom. You have a couple of more links down here. The view an example will take you through it just like you would if you were reading through the book, where you keep clicking continue, and it says the next step, and it also explains what it's doing. So it's pretty nice. And then you can go in, it's a problem like your problem. It's not the exact same as your problem. And then you can go and do the problem like the example explained. The help me solve this is similar. It's just that it's more interactive. So it'll explain a little stuff and then it wants you to fill in a little bit to see how you're understanding the material. So it'll talk a little bit and it'll ask you a question. It'll talk a little bit more and then it'll ask you another question. Okay, so that, get that. Okay. So those are the two main helps that if you're just working straight on a problem. There's one more thing that, oh, look, this one's a good one. It's got a couple of stuff in it. The get more help would be any other learning resources that's in addition to the example and the solving this. So this one has a video. They don't all have a video, but this one does. So if you clicked on that, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to have it open up something or not open up on the share screen. But what I'm doing is I'm clicking on get more help and I'm seeing, just in case you're not, there's 3 options. There's a video you can watch. There's another way to link to the textbook, okay, which you already have one of those over here as a link to the textbook. I don't remember which one. I think it's the first one. But you can link straight to the section of the textbook that talks about this material. And then there's this one called Ask My Instructor. So the third option of Ask My Instructor that you can find when you click on Get More Help when you're just working on a problem, it isn't going to send it. It is, let me try again. It will send an email to me. There'll be a message box that opens up and you can type in there, I keep getting answer B wrong. I don't understand why, or something like that. And it will send your message to me along with the actual problem that you're working on with the specific values or the specific graph that you were looking at when you hit that option. Because we all get, it just continuously generates new versions of each problem. So the version that you're struggling with, it will send that to you so that I can take a look at what you're looking at specifically and then give you maybe a more detailed response that'll help you get past that problem. Okay, so when you're working through the homework, you can use the arrows to flip forward or backwards down the list or through the list. And then you can scroll up and down the side if you want to hop around. If you're not finished with an assignment, you can do a couple at a time. And then when you close out the window, it will automatically assign a grade based on how many you've gotten done at that point. So you can look up here in the corner. I'm not doing very well because I've just done part of a problem. So I've got a 5.13%. But the next time I log into MyMathLab, I can go to the same assignment and I can click on it and I can continue to work on the problems that either were incorrect or had not been done yet. And again, if you get them submitted before the deadline, then they will be, you can get 100% on those. Just keep reworking every problem until you get 100%. Okay, so that's just a little bit about MyMathLab. Let me stop the share and go back and find, where is it? All right. Sorry, I guess I'm going to close that part down. All right, I wanted to go back and show you the main menu again. Okay, so sorry for the delay here for just a second. So let's go back to the main menu and then I'm going to share that with you. Okay, sorry for that. Took that a long time. So this is where you will hang out when you were working on the problems. Some of you, if you're looking for a lesson of some sort that you would need to like take notes on or something, you can use those links that are provided inside each assignment that takes you to the textbook or that plays a video if you'd rather write down notes based on a video. You could wait until you're inside the homework problems and you could use the viewing examples or the links to the textbook at that time and then write down notes for yourself. It's really up to you how you learn best, how you would like to do that. If you are wanting some additional instruction or another way to look at it, there's a couple of other options here. If you scroll down a little bit, not for me, but if you scroll down, you'll see something called the Video and Resource Library. So if we open that, and I just hope that this opens, where is it? Yeah, over here. You can call for information. I'm going to look at that same section we were looking at before, say chapter 1, and then it was section 1.1. And then these would be all the types of resources that are available for that section. If you want to see the videos again, if you just want to see videos, it will find it for you. And I don't know if you can see this as it switched, but I clicked on video, and when I selected find now, a list down below popped up of 3 videos. There, that introductory video and then 2 more videos that were made about that particular topic. So I didn't include all of those in every problem, but you can certainly get to all of those. If you're not a video person, but you're into PowerPoints, you can select a PowerPoint and then it will um, list all the PowerPoints that were provided for that section, which is usually just one. It's just a summary kind of what's in the book. So anyway, there you can always get to the textbook there and everything, but that's just an additional resource as well. So what I find a lot of students do is they watch the video that is inside the homework and then they go start working on the homework. And if they need more clarification, they go to that view example and that'll break down even more details, that particular problem that they're working on. And it's the homework problems in MyMathLab that I base my test questions on. So the test will feel a lot like the homework. It's going to be, you'll see, you might even recognize some of the problems on the test. Like, oh, I had this one in the homework. So that's why I let you keep a notebook. And if you keep a good notebook and keep it organized and label everything, you will be able to, if you really have to go look a problem up while you're taking a test, you can flip over to your notebook and see if you can find one similar to that. I don't want you to do that for every problem. You might run out of time, but you can have access to your notebook if you need it. Okay. One other thing I wanted to comment on before I kind of close this down is the, let me stop, sorry, I know I'm kind of rambling. The things that are available in Moodle. So I wanted to take a quick look at those before I let you go, just to remind you again. It says it in the very first thing in the announcement page. So hopefully the Moodle page is loading in now. This is what everybody should see in when they drop into Moodle. It says right here that we do, those of you that are used to doing courses in Moodle, I know that you look over here, you scroll down and you find all the topics and everything. These are not for a grade. These are only just extra learning resources. We had a professor that made a whole bunch of these lessons over last year, and they're just a different way of explaining things, and you might find them more useful. He talks a lot about Desmos in here too. So if you're new to the Desmos graphing site web page, this would be a good place to learn about that too. In fact, that's where I got the video that I dropped over in MyMathLab, was one of these videos over here. So if you go through and you want to do let's say you want to find out more about inputs and outputs with domain and range or something like that, you can open that thing up. I think. I don't know if that opened. Let me stop and start sharing again. Well, it doesn't matter because these are not for a grade. I know that when you're working on these problems, it gives you a little bit of an explanation and then it starts in with some, here, you try a problem. Even if you missed a problem and it says you got 0 out of 2 points, or you get the problem right and it gives you 2 out of 2 points, those points are not part of the grade book over in MyMathLab. It's just points that he put on the particular questions to kind of make it more interactive. So nothing that you do over here in Moodle will be affecting your grade. So if you are watching these Moodle activities and you don't like them, or they don't make sense to you, or that you find them confusing, or you're trying to find the problem that corresponds to that example or something. If you don't like them, don't worry about it. You don't have to do anything in Moodle, but these are just extra resources should you want to take another look at how somebody could explain it. And on that note, you could also just, if there's something that's giving you trouble, obviously I'm always happy to help you. So you can always shoot me an email and I can hop on Zoom with you during office hours. You can go to our OCCC Math Resource Center in person and ask about anything in the course, or you can go to their website and maybe set up a tutoring session if you'd like, if there's something that we can't work out between the two of us. So there's lots of ways to learn this material. You can always just go Google something. There's a big, what is it, in the domain and range questions, I think it's in 1.1, they use interval notation. And some of you are not familiar with interval notation, but it's supposed to be a prerequisite. So like if you're not familiar with that, just hop on YouTube and say, what's interval notation? And someone will explain it really fast. So anyway, I just wanted to give you an overview of MyMathLab so that you have some idea about what is and isn't required. The one other thing I guess would be about due dates. Let me go back one last thing. If I can get it to switch over. The due dates. Okay. If you'll notice on the left, there are due dates, and we have a few that have already passed. They are still accessible. I know they have a bit of a late penalty on them, but you can still access them and you can still work on them. Okay, so I'm trying to leave everything accessible until the first test has passed. At that time, once the test deadline has passed, then I will go back in and I will put in zeros for any missing work. Okay, so you really, if you get behind, you can still get maybe up to 95% of it if you go back and work on it, as long as you get it done before I shut everything down at the test. Okay, so they're still available, but there'll be a little bit of a penalty if they're late, but you can still work on them and get caught up. All right, so email me if you have any other questions, and or tell me how it's going. Just keep communicating with me. If you get stuck on something, don't just sit and be quiet and hope it gets better. Contact me and let's see if we can't work it out. All right, so I will stop this so I can go ahead and get it posted.